there you go, that's a fish, for sure. Reel. So I worked up at McDougall Lodge in Alaska for 4 seasons, guiding up there. But I actually started in McCall, Idaho, fly fishing for trout. That was a lot of fun. Kind of realized I didn't like taking pictures of little 20-inch trout when I grew up catching salmon and steelhead. So 2005, got my guide's license and been doing that ever since. The bobber dog is just a great way. I've learned a lot as a fisherman doing it because I'm learning, and this is bobbers in general, you're learning right where those fish hold. Where with the drift fishing or side drifting, sometimes I didn't always know where I was catching them. I thought I'd be over here, but really I was, you know, back. So it's been a great learning tool for me too on this river I've been fishing a long time, where these fish hold. So one thing that's hard for guides, especially if they've done a lot of bobber fishing, is you actually want a little bit of slack in this line. If that bobber, if you're tight to that bobber and it's facing you, you're slowly pulling it out of the run. You want a nice little belly, just like these guys have here. Nice little belly in your line, so it keeps that bobber moving downstream. Oh, there you go, that's a fish, for sure. Reel. Yeah, he's got him.
Oh, nice.
Spunky guy. Nice hatchery fish. So again, this one grabbed the bead. Look at how fresh. That thing just came in with the tide. I mean, look at those colors in his tail, the purples and blues. Beautiful hatchery fish.
Scale flaking dinner.
Yep, good job. Nice fish. Bobber dogging, it's just side drifting with training wheels. Nick, you need to pull off that bank a little bit. And just for that reason, the bobber dogging works great for my clients because I can tell them exactly where they need to be. We're trying to move these baits the speed of the current, and so I'm trying to catch the boat up and match that speed so they're just drifting naturally. And I found that presentation is really dynamite versus being on the hook some days. So the thing I really like about the bobber dogging is you can really fish a lot of different water and quickly. So you're covering a lot of water. You know, big long runs are ideal, but you can fish by deepening that up, you know, however deep you need to fish through the deep holes, and then shallow it up to fish those shallow tailouts too. Another thing I really like with these Loomis rods and Shimano reels, they're nice and light. You know, you have your rod in your hand all day. I have guys that compliment me on that all the time, because you're holding it all day. You're gonna get fatigued if you have a nice heavy rod. This is nice light setup, but it still has enough power to land big steelhead. I mean, a 6 to 12 pound rating, but I've caught steelhead over 20 pounds, and we land salmon on these too. So great rod. They do have a nice soft tip, makes it good for casting, and then stiff backbone. This happens to be a 9.5 foot rod, 6 to 12 pound. I really like these rods. I just got some 10 footers, trying to go a little bit longer. And I do like those too. Just anything to help, you know, like we have wind today, helping to cast against that a little bit more rod helps do that. When that bobber goes down, we're not setting the hook. We're trying to just reel on it, because what we're doing is those bobbers are to our side or upstream. The fish is always faced upstream, so if you reel, you'll pull it right to the corner of his mouth. Out, let slack out, let that sink, Nick. Remember, when you always cast, yep, perfect. Yep. And the biggest thing is when you cast, giving it some line too, to let it get down. But that's perfect. That bobber facing downstream.
So this style of bobber dogging is a little bit different than what I'm normally used to, because we're actually dragging the sinker along the bottom with these chop floats. So oftentimes I'm fishing directly to the float and keeping the line off the water. In this situation, you're letting the line bow out and actually drag the float along with the terminal gear, which seems to work in all kinds of different conditions.
So I'm easily amused by small things. This little bead here that doesn't go through your eye, it's a bobber stop bead, but it's like a 6 millimeter or bigger than your standard little tiny one. I like it, at least with these Loomis rods. It seemed like those tiny ones would get stuck in the eye every once in a while, so that makes it really nice for not.
Now, who makes that?
Oregon Tackle.
Oregon Tackle?
Yep.
And it's called a bobber stop bead?
Yeah, let me find the package here. It's a Oregon Tackle 6 millimeter red bobber stopper bead. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just attaching my bead. I tie them all with a Duncan loop. Wet that knot, put it right over, slide to my Yarny. And we have a nice dropper swivel with our Dave's Tangle Free, which is going to my top shot, which has our bead to stop the bobber from snagging on that swivel, bead up above it to stop it on that bobber stop so we can adjust our depth. Pretty simple setup. So we decided to do a second float, which I do a lot of times, trying to stay in front of those fresh pods of fish moving upriver. And with the style that I'm doing, bobber dogging, Nick, your bobber's down? Nope. And we're just trying to cover water. Fishing the speed of the current, so you're gonna be covering more water. A lot of guys are doing 2 floats, and you know, hopefully some people have moved some around and we can find some of those biters that people have missed.
Cause it's all